Alright, welcome back everyone. Hopefully we are all good on know if problems with audio or anything. Can't see it. I can see it. Are you, yeah. Ah, there we go. Welcome back everyone.
Good luck, mate. Catch you later.
Yep, thank you, Riven. We're back on board. Sorry, I had a couple of technical issues there with sound volumes, but we are back on board. Tony Shoulders is in the chat. That's rare to see. Welcome back, Tony. We're seeing you back racing anytime soon. Yeah, 12 hours of Spa. Also, we just covered the first few hours. There's Julia Boucher is in the car, and they're actually having a fairly good battle with Van Nimmen now. We are so back. Indeed, yeah, we had a couple technical issues with the microphone and stuff, but it's a Windows problem. So Julia Boucher, who we're on board with now, is currently battling between Van Nimmen. 0.6 seconds between these guys. I think that was a position actually gained for Van Nimmen as he's coming back through the pack. 11 months with Prime, thank you Mark. Much appreciated as always. I believe, am I already? Yeah, I'm already, I can't do it anymore. But yeah, thank you for the 11 months. If anyone else has Prime and they've not used it, send it our way, give us some support. Can't harm it. So here we go then. Who else have we got on the pack? Blanchette, who we were on with earlier, is about 1 second back from Camargo. These guys have got, well, they've been chasing each other for a large majority of the first hour and a half as it is. Tamara's about 10 seconds back from them. In front we've got Perry, who's 10 seconds back from Thomas, and Camargo, as I said, he's got Blanchette just behind, and he's 4 seconds back Perry. Further down the grid though, Felipe is currently fighting with Carlos Keppers in the Pegassi Motorsport McLaren. Behind them we've got Zaza in the number 470 Aston Martin going through Eau Rouge at the moment. These guys to come through towards turn 5. Lovely camera angles that we've got going on here. The BMW is in the slipstream, is going to be making a move onto the turn 5. He doesn't quite go for it. He could have probably gone for a dive there, but it seems like Pegassi Motorsports clearly had that covered. And it's going to be a good exit for them in front as well. So a little bit behind, we'll go on board with Zaza as well for Sky Sim Sport. These guys are very fast drivers. Down in sort of P24 at the moment. We saw Sky last time doing very well at Kyalami. The guys in front are pretty much neck and neck at the moment. It's about 0.1 seconds between each other, and they're actually not too far behind Cragnaz either, which is great to see. Might even get a couple through a battle. So there's a little bit of side-by-side door banging there between these two drivers as they come through. Pull corner now into sector 3. Felipe is going to be all over the rear of Keppers. Further around the grid, we've got not much going on. This is currently the closest battle. Blanchet up front at 0.6, but nothing's as close as these two, which are side by side. Felipe is going to be looking around the outside towards Blanchimont. He keeps it going around the outside. He's probably not going to keep it stuck there, but he might even go for the dive into the bus stop. Keppers goes slightly wide on the outside. It's going to be a battle of the late breakers. That BMW is very late on the brakes into that corner, but he doesn't make anything happen. He was actually covered off really quite well by Keppers in front there. A bit of a slide of oversteer on the exit, but nothing too bad. It's actually turned into almost a 5-way car battle now. I need to keep my eye on Kevin Blanchet up front. Yeah, 0.6 seconds currently covers these guys. We're going to go on board with Zaza again. We can see what's happening up in front. So Craig Naz is followed by Keppers by about 0.2 seconds. These two are actually side by side now as they go down in towards turn 5 of Spa. 37th lap of the race. We're in an hour and a half into it. Keppers is all the way around the outside on the straight. Is he going to keep it going for the corner? Yes, he is. That's around the outside. And is Felipe going to do the same thing at the same time? Yes, he does, around the outside of Kragnaz. And now we've got Zaza on the outside of Kragnaz. Is that going to be another position gained on the outside? Potentially. It's looking like it might be into the next corner. Kragnaz potentially lifting off. Yep, braking a little bit earlier there just to give the position. But wow. 3 cars around the outside, and now we've got another set of cars around the outside of each other, all in the space of a couple corners, which is pretty crazy to see. So Felipe is now chasing on behind Keppers in front. The leaderboard on your left hand side is slightly out of date, but that'll get updated soon enough. Gabriel Felipe for Vacuum Racing ORT is right behind Keppers for Pegassi. Is going to look to make a move at some point. He's going around the outside in this corner here. He's not going to make a move on the outside there. Those are going to tuck himself in and stay right behind as these guys are coming around Spa. He's actually, Mark, slightly reminiscent of the 2 hours of Spa where you were first chatting in the stream. What terrible dinner, I'm kidding. As Keppers goes slightly wide there. That might give actually Felipe a little bit of a run. Now, a little bit behind as well, Kragnaz is also being pressured by Barberi, but I'm going to keep on board with these two as I do believe that Felipe will try and make another dive down the inside or outside here. It looks like the inside is going to be covered by Keppers. He dives to the outside. We've got a blue flag emerging in front there. It's going to be very late on the brakes for Keppers there. I'm sure that was a little bit of a squeeze of the butt cheeks there. But Felipe is still on the rear. He's swerving, he's looking for a gap. He's not going to be getting the inside. He's going to move to the outside. He's going to dive around at La Source. Is he going to make it burn? There's a little bit of door banging there between these two, but that's going to give the better exit to Keppers as they now head down in towards a Rouge. We've got Zaza just behind. That's trying to get the most out of this as well. All the meanwhile, we've got Leoberger just in front, who was swapped over from Sranda, who's gaining a 15-second plus gap advantage over these guys. So now coming into turn 5 of Spa again, we've got these two looking for a move around the outside. Felipe goes and makes the move around the outside, as we saw with Kragnaz a couple laps ago. Keppers is not giving that up though. He's still on the inside of this corner. Is he going to make a move stick? No, he's not. He's going to tuck in nicely behind the BMW. Might even try and go around the outside of the next corner. Does he go for it? No, he doesn't. But he's going to tuck in again behind the inside and see what he can do against the next couple corners. Now, just behind, Barberi did make his way past Kragnaz. Kragnaz has dropped back about a second now as well. But Zaza very unsteady in that Aston Martin on the exit there. That might even be a position gain around the outside or the inside from Barberi. He looks for it. He's almost up the inside, but he doesn't quite go for it as they go into Pouon. Keppers still remains in front of Zaza, but Felipe is now going to be looking to get away as fast as he can from this. He made a fantastic move around the outside and nothing further happened. How has the weather been, by the way? No rain so far. It's definitely, we're going to get some rain in the next 10 hours at some point, but it's looking all sunny at the moment. It was cloudy at one point. It looked as if it was going to be sort of going to be some rain, but we didn't get anything too much, unfortunately. Unfortunate for yourself as a viewer. For everyone else, potentially not. I'm fairly sure that the drivers themselves are actually very happy that it's not been raining much, as that means that they can just keep on with the dry tyres, keep on with the pace, and keep on with the battle that they are having. Up front, Blanchette has dropped back 2 seconds now from Camargo, so that's sort of dropped off from being a thing. Keppers is all over the rear of Felipe still, and actually almost has a little bit of contact, which turns into oversteer on the exit for Keppers now, and he's going to be pressured by Zaza, who's just behind. Ooh, almost looks for a position up the inside and the exit of La Source there. Flashing of the headlights there just to say, look, there was a gap there, you left it open, and then you made me back out. You know, you got to give me some compensation for that. But Keppers doesn't have to by the rulebook, so he's not going to. He's going to be going down the straight. Claudio Zaza is going to be trying to get that slipstream. And he's going to be looking down the inside. He's on the brakes and he's not going to make a move this turn. Keppers is slightly wide on the apex, but nothing too bad. Zaza's getting some good apexes here as well. Into turn 7. A little bit of oversteer again from Zaza. The Aston Martin, to be fair, is an absolute handful at Spa to manage with, so these guys have been doing absolutely fantastic with it so far. Coming around the outside now on the exit of Beaker's Corner. Got Barberi just behind, who's actually giving way to that's the P1 of Michael Thomas coming through now. Just blitzing his way through the grid at this point. He's had a fantastic race so far. He's 11 seconds up on James Perry, and he's just got to keep it clean with the blue flag drivers. So that much more yellow 0 point racing Mustang is doing everything he can to try and stay as consistent and clean as possible, which means going around the outside of blue flags on third sector of Spa. So that's actually very close between these guys. But split 1 is the well, it's the split that's got the fastest drivers. It's also the most cleanest, because the ones that get put in this are the ones that have the least penalty points in ACM. So it's good to see. That is the Toga Racing Academy driver who's getting a little bit of oversteer, and the Sky Motorsports is all over the place, almost hitting the wall there. Wow. As he manages to catch that nice and well. Toga Racing Academy is going to be now giving way to more and more positions, which as he should. Zaza and Kragnaz out of this are actually having a little bit of a battle throughout the blue flags. So Zaza currently in front of Kragnaz. Kragnaz on the outside of the corner. They got a blue flag just in front of Zaza. Whether that's going to affect the game or not, I don't know. Potentially the blue flag might be better giving way down here, but maybe not close enough. We'll see how close Zaza gets down towards turn 5. I bet they're still suffering from PTSD from the charity race. Yeah, the charity race that we ran together with Big Brain Racing back in November. 0 point racing did suffer quite heavily from, I think, the most penalties out of everyone. Obviously that race was pay for penalty system, which was quite fun, and also raised over £4,000 for charity, which was a fantastic weekend to be a part of, and we are looking to do some more this year as well. So we'll go on board with Barberi then. He's actually made his way past Zaza. I think Zaza got caught up in the blue flag situation. But this is currently still remaining as the closest that we've got on track. Let's just check the current schedule. So we've got about 23 minutes until the next round of pit stops, which should hopefully spice things up a little bit. Obviously those drivers who pitted a little bit earlier, I think is... yes, Jin Hatsune Miku. That's, I don't think is the actual name of the person in real life, but if it was, we'd have some fans. These guys pitted very early on in the race, and they did have a couple of issues passing some unlapping themselves. But the Hyundai N Mustang, I must say, I'm an absolute fan of, is down in P33 at the moment. These guys did pit early, so they're going to have to be pitting again, but they do have a 10-second penalty to the name as well. They're a fast lot of drivers, these guys. I think they qualified in P8, and obviously they're down in P33 at the moment, so they've got a lot to gain, and also a lot to catch up with, but 10 hours to go, then we've got plenty to go with. Seagulls, as I said, these guys are actually coming to the pit lane now. It was a pretty good prediction from me, as they're going to be serving their second pit stop of the race. Cragnaz just behind Zaza, Zaza's behind Barberi, Barberi is behind Keppers. So I was saying, Seagulls in the chat love charity races, I've done a few, and it's always good fun going back and forth with the cars in close proximity with penalties. Yeah, I've got to admit, it was a truly fun weekend. We had a fantastic system with penalties coming in, and like I said, we raised over £4,000, so it was very good going. Also, I'm a fan of Hyundai. Who isn't? You know? It's Hyundai, and especially when it's plastered on a Mustang. It's always great to see. So that's who my support is with. No bias, of course. Not like I've got a Hyundai in real life. We ignore that fact. So we're still on board then with who we've got. Barberi, who's on the board of the Pegassi Motorsport Keppers car. Keppers has had some good bit of racing with Felipe and stuff. Felipe, speaking of, is about 5 seconds in front now. Got some support for Gallimini in the chat, which is good to see. Gallimini's in the car for DMF at the moment. These guys are in the Aston Martin. Mark says, I still remember the last hour of the charity race where us and another car kept going, and after about £500 we finished 1 or 2 seconds ahead of the other car. It was a truly manic end to that race. We had, at one point we raised enough money to give the entire top 10 at the stop-go 10-second penalty. That was good to see. It also spiced things up a little bit. And then towards the end as well, we had so many drive-throughs coming in for some drivers. It was truly manic, but yeah, there should be a VOD out already for the first hour. I believe if you check our Twitch page, it'll be on there. We'll also re-upload it to YouTube, so you can get the first hour of the race done there. We had a fantastic start of the race. Everyone managed to keep it clean for the most part. We did have about 60 or so incidents, but most of them were in fact slight door banging. You can see on the left-hand side leaderboard now. There are quite a few drivers with time penalties, but most of them are 5 seconds here and there, which could have been applied from earlier on in the race. Could be from little minor door banging. Could be anything. So Barberi, who is now in the pit lane, is one of the first few stoppers of this half of the race. Cragnaz is also in the pit lane, who's come through their second pit stop of the race. Further up front, Florenti's managed to catch up to Copsey just in front, and Larinch is also now right on the back of Davy Hill. Davy Hill, who we were on board with earlier, was having a very good race with Formula Racing League. Yeah, we split the stream per hour. We've actually split it between commentators. We had an original commentator on for the first hour, who unfortunately woke up very ill, so I wasn't able to do it. So I covered for them for the first hour, which meant I have to switch over to my stream instead of their stream. So now we're on board with mine, and then in an hour and 20 minutes we'll swap back over to someone else, and so on and so forth. So it'll be it'll split up by an hour, maybe an hour, 2 hours, something like that. So an Angel is actually on the rear of Julie Boucher. Good to see Julie out in the car. These guys did have a race with us not too long ago at Silverstone, which they placed very well in. They're out in the Ferrari today. A very nice livery from these guys, actually. We'll get a closer look at that as it comes past. A nice white and gold livery that they've got going on. I always say there's some nice liveries out there, but what they're all missing is an ACM logo. If you do want to put an ACM logo on there, you know, I'm not going to say no. They're all publicly available in the ACM Discord. Speaking of which, if you do want to come in and get involved with the ACM racing, we do, you know, up to 15 races a week. The Discord link is in the chat. You can also do discord.gg/ACM-racing. That is our official Discord link. Come and join us, we've got plenty going on, and you can join in with races just like this, where we've got 3 different servers running 3 different splits. We were supposed to have 2 different commentary, unfortunately it didn't get going due to technical issues. Cedric Lirinch was looking for a move there. Didn't quite get it done on Davy Hill now, but it is going to be a good battle between these 2 drivers. Davy Hill didn't have the best of the first hours, but the second hour has been going good so far. We'll go on board with Larinch to see what he's seen. Again, back with a cloudy race so far, nothing major. Yeah, some fantastic liveries being shared today. I'm looking at the chat at the moment and people are complimenting a lot of these. I do particularly love that Ford Mustang Hyundai, not just because I am a fan of Hyundai, but because it is just such a nice livery. It goes well with the car, the colour scheme goes well, and it's a nice blend of the N logo in there as well. It's yeah, it's good. It'd be nice to see. Hot point here. It's a Hyundai GT3 car. Hear me out. I'm not sure which of their versions they do, maybe the Elantra or something like that. But it would be nice to see them in GT3 racing. Not like I've got any sort of aspect over that, but you know, you never know. Maybe with a Assetto Corsa Evo, when that comes out with mods and stuff, we can get something, yeah, crafted up. Anyhow, back to the racing. Felipe 0.2 seconds back with Nürburger as the Audi that had not particularly the best start of the race. It's still got a bit of damage on the front of that Audi, but they are doing particularly well at the moment to defend from Felipe. Felipe, who's been having a fantastic race in that BMW, is currently up the inside of that Audi and is looking to get that move done. The Audi's going to have the inside line for the next corner, but it's probably too late as he took back behind the number 88 BMW. Might look back at coming for Blanchimont though. It's going to be slightly wide for that BMW, slightly wide for Nürburger as well, but looks like these guys are fairly comfortable with their current positions. Cedric Larinch 0.3 seconds back still from Davy Hill. Davy Hill might be coming out of the car at the end of this stint, maybe not, might be doing triple stint, I don't blame him. But speaking of stints, Cedric Larinch is one of those ones that's doing this race solo, and he's currently going around the outside on the straight before even the corner, and he's gone and done that perfectly well. He's not even in a Mustang, and he's out Mustanged the Mustang, which is pretty crazy to see. So, yeah. Well, fair play to Cedric Larinch. We've seen some good racing for him so far, and that was his 25th overtake of the race, which is it's crazy to say in that in just an hour 45, Cedric Larinch has come from the bottom of the grid P38 all the way to P13. He's got 12 seconds to catch up to Zadvinsky in front, but I think that he's perfectly capable of doing that. Obviously, as we've seen so far, this man has come through 25 positions in just an hour and 45. Top 10, top 8, maybe top 5 is definitely possible for this man. I think maybe top 5 is probably too far out of it. These guys up front are just way too far ahead. It's a 15-second gap between Wozniak in the Aston and Chamara, who's also 11 seconds back from Blanchette. Blanchette's fairly close up front. You can see just there. That's Camargo in front, who's currently in P3. But again, above that, 5 seconds, 13 seconds, and so on. And these guys are lapping incredibly well. They're doing 2:16s, 2:18s consistently. And actually, speaking of, the fastest lap of the race has now been secured again by Michael Thomas. 2:16.6 is his current fastest lap, which for a race pace is mind-boggling. Track conditions currently 18 degrees track and air temp, so it is dropping. It was about 23 about an hour ago, but as hopefully you're aware, we do have a 2 times time multiplier, so you see the weather at the top. It's only 15 minutes because it passes twice as fast. Got some more support for Mr. Hill in the chat. He had a little bit of a battle with Larinch earlier on, but Larinch is honestly just going way too fast for anyone to keep up with him. So yeah, but Davy Hill doing a fantastic race so far in that Mustang, taking a Rouge really nice there. Fantastic livery on that car as well. I used to race quite a lot with FRL. It's a fantastic league, and it's got some fantastic drivers. Davy Hill being one of these guys. So Klimczak then, one of the other drivers who's been doing very well in the Golden Lynx racing team, is 0.4 seconds back from Wozniak in the 865 Aston. Now this Aston Martin has been the leader of the non-Mustang group for quite a while in this race. We've been running fairly consistently, and I think we didn't swap. No, they did swap at the previous pit stop. Gudowski was originally in the car, now it's Wozniak, and they've also got Bogalski in the car as well. So these guys are now battling with Klimczak, who's had a fantastic race so far, up 7 positions from the start of this race. And they're now battling or fighting for P6. So Klimczak, massive pat on the back for you. You've done really well, almost on the levels of what Cedric Larinch has been able to do. Yes, Mark, top 5 Mustangs. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but driver balancing bop. Some of the drivers up at the top here have never raced with us before, so that's where the effect has come in. But in future, no matter what they race in, no matter what track or car, they will be ballasted appropriately. 22 people watching, say hello in chat. If you've got support for someone, give us their name and we'll show them on stream. Unfortunately, we've only got Split 1 that's on the stream today. Split 2 had some technical issues with the stream, we just couldn't get it started. But it was a bit last minute with the streams today. We did have a couple of commentators drop out towards the end, which was a little bit unfortunate. Nylov is also one of the drivers that we've not covered too much. They're in the non-Nexus McLaren, which I must admit is a very, very nice McLaren that they've got going on there. And I believe we did have someone in the chat that was a fan of non-Nexus, so it'd be good to get them in and saying and confirming that. But the turquoise and black McLaren, must admit I'm a fan of the colour again, no bias because it's my own car's colour, but yeah, very nice. And they're currently battling with Javswix. I butchered that name, I do apologise. I'm not particularly fluent. I am actually suffering slightly with a bit of a cold as well, so yeah, apologies for any name butchering. Carlos Durazio, currently 0.6 seconds back from Galamini. Galamini, one of the guys that we had some support with in the chat as well, so it'd be good to get you guys talking in the chat again. We've got Klimsiak, 0.3 seconds. Blanchette has finally caught up to Camargo. You can see that Mustang in front. Will it be a dive to the inside at La Source? It's going to be a dive. It's going to be a look at least, but it gets covered by Camargo in front. The teammates of Donate and Williams are going to be looking to coach this man on how to defend. Not saying that he doesn't know how to defend, but Camargo's got a pretty difficult game up against Blanchette. Blanchette's had a very good race so far for the Proton competition Mustang. Heading towards turn 5 then, he's all over the rear, he's going to have the slipstream heading into the corner. He's side by side going through, and it might even be a position gained before the corner exists. It's going to be a battle of latest on the brakes, and the position's been gained. So that was a very clean overtake by Blanchette, and it's nothing that we didn't expect really. Camargo is going to be trying to keep up with him for the rest of the stint, but with about 14 minutes left on the stint timer, he's got plenty of time to keep that going. So Klimsiak now 0.1 seconds behind Wozniak. Wozniak had a little bit of a moment over Eau Rouge, maybe had to back out for a track warning. That's already a position gained by Klimsiak as they go past the blue flag drivers as well. Apologies for that. So Camargo now, as I said, just looking to keep things going. Wozniak about 0.5 seconds back from Klimsiak now. Klimsiak is just going to be keeping it consistent. About 17 seconds to Tamara in front, which is a decent amount of time to gain. But so long as he keeps it consistent, then it's fine. Mike Maz in the chat, where's all the ACM liveries? We've not actually got any ACM liveries on today because none of the ACM drivers are driving. We've got 3 splits, so we needed all hands on deck with stewarding. Thankfully, we had enough volunteers for that to happen. We're on board with Kelly at the moment. They're about 0.5 seconds back from Guzman. That's a massive cut of the Eau Rouge chicane there. That might even be a track cut or a warning for him. He's dropped back a little way as well. NASCAR track limits, yep, that sounds about right. Nürburger's in the pit lane now as well, so he'll be coming in to take his stop. A little bit of damage on the front of that Audi. Let's hope they can get that fixed during this time as well. Wozniak still 0.7 seconds back. That's currently the closest on track, but as we saw, he's just been overtaken, so I don't expect that to come through anytime soon. We do have the stops in about 7 minutes or so. Keeping up with the incidents then, current situation for Split 1, we've had 77 incidents so far. By the way, all of these are reviewable on the ACM Racing website. I can send a link to that in the chat now. You can view all the incidents. Oh, that's not. That's just not. There you go. acm-racing.com/stewarding. We've got 3 splits going on today, so you can view all of those on the website. Had 77 incidents in split 1. All of those have been reviewed nice and well. Split 2, we've got 48 incidents so far. All of those are nice and covered as well. And then split 3 has only had 23 incidents, which is always fantastic to see. 5 minutes left of the second stint of this race. We've got another 10 hours left of the race, so these positions that you see at the moment are likely not to stay as they are. Obviously with a race like this, anything can happen. Now, it's not quite as dynamic as the charity race that we were on about earlier was. Obviously, if you wanted to get a position in that race, all you have to do is open your wallet and you get some positions. But in this race, you do have to fight for it. There's no pay to win unless you're a Patreon. The joke, of course. There's no hoping and praying. It is just pure pace, pure fighting, and pure battling. Petition to add a Steward OMG page when there's a gallery of. Yeah, I mean, fancy gathering all the funny incidents, and the drivers are happy with that. I'm sure we can get it together, and then whenever someone like myself sends the wrong link, it gets still the same page. Yeah, that's a bit of a rookie error there with the link typing instead of copying and pasting, but nevertheless, let's hope for some pit stops soon. So, who's it? Schwander's back in the car now. These guys, yep, has repaired the damage. They were in the pit lane a couple of laps ago. Have, as I said, repaired the car, and they're out in P31 at the moment. And then we also have Benovsky's. I don't think we've covered so far, but that's a livery that I covered at the start that I said was very nice, and I still do remain with that opinion. They're about 0.0 seconds back on Lipinski, and that's a very textbook manoeuvre that's been executed there around the inside on turn 3, and now that's going to be a blue flag situation. So Roberts, Benovsky's for GMR Motorsport is through and up into P25. These guys started in P12, so they've got a lot to cover up from where they began, but P12, that must have been some significant pace. I do believe that they can claw that back. Now, back on board with the speed trap standings. I did say earlier on that the Mustang wasn't the fastest on track. I now do fully retract that statement, because while we do still have Antonio Pinna in the ACCI number 66 Ferrari as setting the fastest speed trap, that is also joint fastest speed trap with 3 other Mustangs. So it seems to be sort of commonplace for these guys, and the only other car that comes close is the McLaren with a 276 kilometers an hour speed trap's time. Now, where this speed trap is, I'm not entirely sure. My guess would be towards the end and towards P5, but I don't know. 277 kilometers an hour though, that is very fast, especially for these cars. But Mustangs got no real surprise on those. I think we did potentially have another one. No, it was just another 276 that was further down. But yeah, the drivers with 277 km an hour speed trap, that's Blanchette, Camargo, we've got Pinner, obviously in the Ferrari, and Copsey as well, the ACC Italia, number 340 Mustang. Yeah, Cedric Larinch is still the biggest position gainer of this race, currently sat in P13, 7 seconds in front of Zadbinski, and they're up 25 positions from their start. They started all the way at the back of the grid, intentionally, I may add, in an attempt to do a last to wherever they can get to challenge, and in the first 2 hours of this race they've gone and made up 25 positions, so I think by the end of this race they should be challenging for at least the top 5, if not the top 8 of this grid. Do we have any old cars in Split 1? We do indeed. We've got a Nissan from the EOS guys, currently driven by Nicolo Pasquale in the number 306 Nissan. Unfortunately, I don't have a livery on this car. I'm not sure entirely if one's available. I did do a sync about an hour before the race, just because of how much I had to do and the unexpectedness of me having to commentate. But yeah, these guys are in the Nissan in Split 1, and they're currently in P28, and they're not doing too bad at all, considering they're in a Nissan, and considering I do believe this is the old Nissan as well, so not even the 2018 version. They are doing very, very, very well for themselves. And I think, to be honest, depending on whether these guys finish and where they finish, could even be my suggestion for driver of the day, if we don't consider the fact that Cedric Larinch has gained 25 positions. I don't even know if there's anyone else that's even in the double digits. There's one other person in the double digits, which is Wazowicz in P24 currently. They've made their way up 10 positions since the start of this race, but considering that's the only big position gainer, compared to 25 from Cedric, is pretty crazy. Anyhow, back with the racing. Zaza is back again with the Pegasi Motorsport car of Keppers. Felipe is just making a move past the Julie Boucher. That's been done, got the t-shirt, that's all sorted now. Copsey is on the rear of Van Nimmen as well. 0.4 seconds between these guys. Van Nimmen as well, I may add, is a solo driver. So is Larinch. They're one of the few solo drivers that we've got in this race. Julia Boucher has also dropped another position. There's potentially some some problems with the car here that's going on, but they've dropped down 2 positions since the start of this lap, and they're also dropping down the straight as well. So maybe hardware issue. I don't see any damage on that car. Be a tyre pressure thing. We're still on 18 degrees track and air temps, so I'm not particularly sure what's going on. We might even see them going into the pit lane now, but Kelly's going to be on the rear of them soon enough. Let's see. They stay out, so interesting. Maybe it's an issue that can't be resolved. Back on this battle with Zaza. Zaza and Keppers, about half a second between these guys. Actually up front as well, worth mentioning, Camargo is catching Blanchette. Blanchette's last lap was a 2:17.7, and Camargo's last lap was a 2:17.1. So yeah, very good going from Camargo to stay within the realms of Blanchette, and if he lasts another 8 minutes or so, these guys are going to have to do another pit stop. And when the pit stops come in, of course, that shuffles the entire order. That's going to be a good opportunity for a lot of drivers to go through and get a position. So on board with Zaza then, heading into turn 5. They've just come through sector 1. There's a lot of slip and slide on the rear of that Pegasi Motorsport from Cars Keppers there, but there's also a little bit from the Sky Sim Sport of Claudio Zaza. Now these guys at Sky Sim Sport are very, very fast. We saw them at Kyalami. They did very well in the Aston Martin, and I'm always going to represent Aston Martin on ACC. So it's good to see these guys up so high. They're not the highest Aston Martin. We've got Son Angel, a solo driver in this race, as well as Wozniak up in P7 as well. So it's good to see the Aston Martins doing well. And of course, as a supporter, it's no bias. There's a lot of bias. Good to see. Kelly on the rear of Julia Boucher there. We saw last lap that Boucher was having some problems with the car, did drop back a couple of positions, so Joel Kelly's going to be looking to gain through this as well. Now, I think about it as well, there's a lot of cars and a lot of liveries that have a gold theme. Obviously, we're seeing the RSR livery here, that's got a lot of gold in it, but the car that these guys are battling, Julia Boucher, has also got a lot of gold on it. and it's not the only car I've seen with it. This is more green and yellow rather than gold. I can't remember off the top of my head who else is running with it, but there's a certain theme of gold going on throughout this race. I think the Proton Motorsport Blanchette in front has also got a bit of gold on this car. Currently having a battle with Camargo as well. Camargo's really found some pace in these past couple of laps. The difference in lap time here was just 2/10, but very close through the bus stop, which is great to see. Topsy down in P11. Oh, another gold themed car, as I was saying. It was entirely by accident there. 0.8 seconds back from Van Nimmen, so doing very well for himself. Zaza, 0.4 seconds. First couple of cars, the gold car, may I add, is coming into the pit lane for their pit stops. Savini is already in the pit lane for their stop in the Falcon Racing Academy. Joel Kelly is now looking for a move down the inside of Boucher. Goes for the move down the inside, the gap's left open, and that was a fantastic overtake as Boucher runs very wide on that corner there. I think they're potentially having some problems with the tyres in that car. They were running very well until recent, so it's a shame to see, but also good to see they're in a good, comfortable position in P18. Claudio Zaza is currently on the back of Keppers still. That Aston Martin has really come back to life towards the end of this race. And they're going to be looking to gain as much as they can before and after the pit stops throughout this. Copsey 0.5 seconds, Camargo 0.7 seconds. This is all going to change during the pit stops. The last pit stops that we had, I believe, David Hill, who was running in sort of P11ish, had a 54-second stop in their car, so that affected them quite a little bit. Now, hopefully, they won't have to do the same. I don't think they've got any penalties or anything. No, they don't. They don't have any. From what I can see, they don't have any damage. So it should be a fairly simple 30-second stop for these guys. And now that we look at it, look at the weather. We do have rain in 15 minutes. Rain is approaching in 15 minutes. The sun is setting. Rain is approaching. We're heading into night time. It's going to be an interesting third hour of this race as we encroach into it now. Which is good to see. This is what we've been waiting for, a little bit of rain. I did say we'd get it at some point. Hopefully it's enough to have the drivers on wet tyres. At the moment it's just light rain, depending on how long that lasts. In another case we've got a blue flag, or a yellow flag for car number 450. That's Mitch Stratton again having some problems up at Eau Rouge. He's on the outside line there. Van Nimmen and that was Copsey that's made their way past now. Let me go back and see if we can view that. So Copsey getting the slipstream, a little bit of a flash of the headlights as well there. Nimmen moves to the outside, Copsey's on the outside, going around Blanchemont. Nimmen just gives him the position. That's exactly what we like to see here. Just nice and relaxed, just let him through, focus on your own race. And that's how you have a clean time. And now Nimmen is in the pit lane as well, so maybe that's part of the reason why that position was gained. We've got Wozniak in the pit lane as well. In the Crikey car, that is the team there, as you can see in the bottom right. Thomas Nopek is in the car now, so Nopek is one of the faster drivers of the team. We saw them in qualifying, doing some fantastic racing for them. They've got, I think, qualified in P4, yep, P4. So he's going to be trying to gain back as much as he can this time around. I think they had a 16 or so second gap to the car in front before the pit stop, so they've got a lot to claw back. But with Nopek in the car, I have no doubt that these guys will do exceptionally well. So, what have we got on the situation then? D'Orazio has remained out there in pit lane. Wazowicz is currently in the pit lane as well. This is the lap that drivers will be coming into the pit lane if they haven't already for their second stop of the race. Project in the number 777 Aston Martin is on the rear of Pedersoli in the 306 Nissan. And obviously that Nissan has already been in the pit lane, they've already done their stops and stuff. They will not have to worry too much about this battle. I think that Rojek still is yet to do their pit stop, and they've also got a 5-second penalty as well, so not too influential. Now, interestingly enough, now that we've got drivers in the pit lane, I'm seeing a drive-through penalty that's outstanding for Boucher, Julio Boucher. I believe that this might have been for track limits. I don't think he'd get a drive-through for pit lane activities while you're in the pit lane. I don't know if this is a serving drive-through. They might be. They will have to do their pit stop this lap, so they need to make sure that this isn't a pit stop. There's a little bit of contact there in the pit lane entry. Hopefully not too much damage to the car, and that was definitely speeding in the pit lane. So that's going to be another penalty for that car, which is unfortunate to see as they were doing so well. Keppers is in the pit lane. We've got Zaza, Kelly, Lipinski is in the pit lane. Galamini's in the pit lane. Blanchette, Tamara, Perry, all of them are in the pit lane. Shooting the 305 should be coming in the pit lane as well. It's DeRazio. Nope, they stay out, so they must have already done their pit stop. Who else have we got? Number 211. Sun Angels coming into the pit lane for their stop, just behind the Proton Motorsports on 19. I believe that might have been. Yeah, Guzman. Guzman was one of the first ones to come into the pit lane, so now they've got a little bit of clean air in front as we pass all the drivers are in the pit lane. And as mentioned, look at the weather in 15 minutes. Those that have already pitted and those that have gone on dries are going to be regretting their decision when that rain comes in just about 5 minutes time. Now it's about getting very interesting very fast. Those drivers that came out and did their pit stop and they went onto dry tyres will have to go back in. Look at that weather. That's going to be a lot of rain in a very short time. With this 2 times time multiplier, it comes in and it comes down fast and it stays. We're heading into the night, so it's not going to dry up as fast. It's going to be cold, so the track's going to be more slippery than ever. So it's about to get very interesting, and hopefully this rain lasts for about an hour or so, because then that means we've got a good amount of variability. So Sun Angel, Cedric Laringe, Felipe, Danilov, all still in the pit lane. We've got Camargo and Thomas now also in the pit lane. Now 221 will gain positions by the alien driver. That's right, we were saying about Nopek earlier. He was the one that secured the P4 in the qualifying session. Davey Hill got a little bit of contact at the starts, unfortunately, so a step back a little bit, but now Nopek is going full push in the number 221 FRL car. And he is going to be gaining a whole host of positions. Now he goes past the pit lane, that's P15. Is there going to be another one in here as Sun Angel is just in front? I tell you what, a good battle would be between Sun Angel and Thomas Nopek. Sun Angel did the 10 hours of Nordschleife solo. They were doing exceptionally well during that race. And Nopek, of course, as we know from qualifying and from the support in the chat, a very fast driver as well. So could be some good racing there. As we suspected, Julia Boucher did get a stop-go 30-second penalty for the speeding in the pit lane instance. Could be possible that the drive-through was for exceeding driver stint time. I'm not too sure on that. We'll see what happens here. Zaza, obviously out the pit lane now, but is still following on behind Schwander. There's a whole host of position changes that's going on now. As you can see all those cars on the track map on the right hand side coming in and out of the pit lane. I'll tell you what, one thing that I have missed out is the logos. There you go. Scan the QR code on screen, that takes you to the ACM Racing website. Uplay is the key sponsor for us. If you're looking to get into ACC, you're looking to get into gaming in general, you know, you've got a new game that you see that you want to buy, check out Uplay. You get to 80 to 90% discount on all the games. We've been working them for them more a year. We've got, you know, well over 40 sales that we've made for them, so very trusted by us. They've got some fantastic deals out there. Please check them out. Then is in chat. Yep, that's right, King Phoenix. We've got rain in 15 minutes. That is a heavy bit of rain as well. Hopefully your driver Nopek is good. Is as good in the rain as he is in the dry. He's about 2.8 seconds back from Sun Angel. So a bit close one to be fair, and he's already running 217.1. I mean, that's insane to see. We're on the 56th lap of the race. The fastest lap so far is a 16.6. And Nopek is running 17.1s with a full tank of fuel on his first lap out, which is mental. So, keeping you up to date with the student then. So, nothing new at all on Split 1, which is good to see. We've had some clean racing. There's something new on Split 2, which currently has 50 or so total incidents, and 3 still has the original 23. Good. Nothing too major incident-wise. Right, back on with the action. Is anyone close on the pack? Vidal with Raptor Virtual Racing is actually racing his Raptor Virtual Racing teammate. Can I fit as many racings as possible into a sentence with racing in it? Yes. Anyhow, he's about 0.7 seconds back from Cragnaz. He's obviously his teammate, so it's going to be a fairly decent battle between these guys. Or maybe it's just going to be team orders, let me through, I'm faster. I guess we'll find out soon enough. They've been lapped by, I believe that's the ACCI Severa. Yes, it is, who's on the rear of Van Nimmen now. It's another RVR driver who's on the rear of Cragnaz. Yes, that's correct. Who moves out the way nicely. And then, as you can see, Vidal in the background as well, looking to have a little bit of a battle. I see a lack of 333 on the student page. When's the return of the mark? Not quite the saying there. So when's the return of the mark? Tell everyone to hide and run and fear. Well, we'll invent a split 4 just for Mark Nass. Hopefully April 2nd. Hopefully. Okay. We'll see about that. Anyhow, rain in 5 minutes is what is currently predicted, and that rain in 15 minutes is still heavy, so people are going to definitely have to come into the pit lane and swap out those tyres, as we've just seen Julio Vidal go past Cragnaz. That was a fairly easy move there. I think that was probably team orders, I would assume. I wasn't expecting too much of a battle between these guys. Not the Notins, sorry I butchered that one. From Latvia, about 0.1 seconds back from Labour. All these new drivers that we've got in the car now. More names for me to butcher. Speaking of butcher, I know that this is also a butcher of the Boucher name. But Julia Boucher is still out in the car. Obviously they had a couple of stop-goes and a couple of drive-throughs. But now they are back out and in P29, which is not too bad. Obviously without those drive-throughs and stuff they would have been a lot higher, but they do have the pace and they've still got 9 hours and 3/4, so there's plenty of time to go back through the grid. But Zanotins is 0.2 seconds back in that GMR Motorsport. They're going for a dive into turn 1 into La Source. It's going to be a battle of who's latest on the brakes. They've got the inside. Is the Danilov going to try and make a switchback? Nope, doesn't go for it. Sorry, not Danilov, Labour. So Labour is now down in P24. Zanotins has made a place up, but they've got 13 seconds in front for the next one. Further afield, Van Nimmen in P10, 0.6 seconds back from Florenti. Florenti's had a good race so far in the 999 McLaren. Sparks flying as they go through a rouge there. The rain is going to be hitting these guys anytime soon. I think we'll actually probably go on board with Van Nimmen the next couple of minutes. We'll see when that rain hits. That way, we're the first ones to know about it. Mark says there's always the chance I'm faster in my Clio than in the 296. I don't think speed is the problem. I think it's how many things or people or other cars that you hit in said vehicle. In the Clio, it's probably harder, considering it's a lot slower. Hyundai i10 on the other hand, you won't have too much of a problem with. It's a 8-litre V8 in that thing. Best car ever. Anyhow, back to the racing. Van Nimmen 0.5 seconds back. We're still looking for that rain to hit anytime soon. It should be within the next minute or so that rain starts hitting. You'll start seeing the raindrops on the screen. The tyres will start to get slippery. Track temperature will drop. It'll get darker very fast with the cloud that's out now. And we'll see some drivers going back into the pit lane for a very early third stop. Now, what we'll see as well is that those drivers that did start pitting early, the ones such as that of Leo Young-jun, will be going into the pit lane sort of around their stint timer. I believe that would be the case. If the rain hits within sort of the next 10 minutes or so, they won't lose out too much because they've already done half their stint. They've already used the tyres when they're in the prime. And they can just go into the pit lane and do it as it was. They do have a big gap. We've got a minute and a half gap, which is an entire pit stop. So it's a lot to gain back, but I do believe that these guys can do it. They're a very fast lot of drivers. They had a very unfortunate start, but it's good to see that they're still racing, and it's good to see them doing so well. Lohan Fit for Corsa Leggio is currently 1.2 seconds back from Rojek. They're dropping back quite a little ways. Nopek is already upon his first victim. Now, this is going to be interesting because it is Nopek versus Larinch. And obviously, Larinch started in P. There we have the rain. The rain has started. The wipers are on. Just as I say that Nopek is behind, the rain hits and Larinch is all over the place in that McLaren. It's a little bit of an unsteady exit for the both of them. Going to be an into La Source side by side. That rain is coming down heavy now. And in 15 minutes, it's only going to increase. And that's a dive down the inside from Nopek. Larinch has been taken. The first place that is not being gained by Larinch and instead being taken away from Larinch is by Thomas Nopek, which is incredible to see. So now all that praise about Larinch gaining 25 positions has stayed at 24 positions, and Nopek is already claiming lives and gaining back those positions. Very, very good work from Nopek there. I'll look forward to seeing more of what he's got in the upcoming laps. He's got about 3 seconds or so to Zadvinsky in front. Obviously, with this rain, it's going to be very slippery for these drivers. We'll stay on board with Nopek to see if he can do anything during this lap. You'll be seeing a lot of sliding and a lot of tentative acceleration. How is the track greasy already? It's a 2 times time multiplier, so everything that happens normally in 5 minutes happens in 2.5 minutes in game. So yeah, very slippery course for these guys. Nopek's doing very well out there. He's already gained 2 seconds on Cedric. You can see that gap that's been built up now. Van Nimmen's on the rear of Florenti. These guys are going to have to pit for tyres. Like, if anyone stays out on dry tyres during this, it is just not worth it. It's suicidal for the car, for the team. Unless you're racing solo, of course, such as Van Nimmen, it is just purely not worth it. I reckon most drivers will be going in this lap, if not the next one. Speaking of, we do have a couple going in. 865 has decided to stay out on track. That's a very risky manoeuvre. It will be heavy rain coming soon. So that's Bogalski who's decided to stay out. And number 66 behind them of Piazza has also decided to stay out. This is at this point I would have pitted the last lap. Never mind not pitting this lap or the next lap. I mean, if these guys stay out, that's a massive risk that they're taking. They go over one curb that's wrong, and it's the race over. You know, the pace is going to be gone. But alas, this does mean that the order is going to be shaken up. Bruno Cragnaz is in the pit lane for Raptor Virtual Racing. Keppers is in the pit lane for Pegassi. We've also got Raptor Virtual Racing's Vidal in there as well. So car number 777 in the next to pass the pit lane. Are they going to be the ones that goes in, or are they staying out? They're staying out. Wow, that is brave. Unless they are already on wet tyres, which doesn't look like they are because I can see the yellow bits. But yeah, we are certainly having heavy rain at the moment. Now it doesn't particularly seem like it from the driver perspective, but it is very wet, very greasy out there. It's going to become wet tyres optimum very soon. I mean, look at the weather forecast. It's only going to increase in rain throughout the next sort of half an hour or so. So as most of the drivers that did pit are coming out the pit lane, we've still got Rosario, Piazza and Bagalski, who are slip and sliding all over the place. Look at that. Aston Martin in front is just having a right time keeping that thing going straight. Again on the exit of that thing there, just oversteering, oversteer. Piazza doing very well to keep it steady in that Ferrari. We'll see what they can do coming through Blanchimont. Is it going to be a flat out Blanchimont? I don't think so. Is it going to be a pit stop for the both of them? I do think so. Nope, they have to brake quite a lot there. In wet tyres you'd be much better off going through this track. It has to be a wet tyre switch for these guys now. There's no way it isn't. Yep, that's both of them in the pit lane. Piazza couldn't get the pass done in time, so now both battling for that pit lane entry. They both managed to get in perfectly fine, and it will be a tough battle on the outside. Van Nimmens now come in from Raptor Virtual Racing. Got my words there. Donate's now in the pit box as well. Interesting that he came out to go straight back in, but now that he's back in the car, he can put in some decent times. Up at the top, we've had a change for the lead of the race. Driver-wise, the team is still 0 Point Racing, but Chris Vining is out in the car. A very fast driver is Chris, and I believe he's on dry tyres currently. He's one of the only drivers out on track left on dry tyres at this point. And the track has converted to being damp. We've hit 16 degrees Celsius. Dry tyres are too far gone at this point. If you're still on dry tyres, you've got major problems that will occur. So hopefully he comes into the pit lane, because you don't want this 0 Point Racing being knocked out of contention. And yep, into the pit lane comes Chris Vining for 0 Point. They come through, hit the pit lane speed limiter, and they'll be switching over to the wet tyres. So Nopek, Thomas Nopek from Formula Racing League is coming through. He's towards sector 3 now. He's right behind Zadvinsky, and as we said before, there's about a 3-second gap there, so that's already been caught for these guys, which is pretty crazy to see. Cedric Labrinch, who we saw these two battling earlier, is currently still in the pit lane and is yet to actually take the tyre change. So Nopek is all over the rear of that Porsche. He's doing incredibly well. You can see all the raindrops that are on the screen at the moment now. It's going to be a battle between Nopek and Zadvinsky in towards Blanchimont and in towards bus stop. There's probably nothing in Blanchimont. It's too dangerous in the rain, plus you can't see anything. Either steering inputs from Nopek there, almost a half lock to the right there. It's going to be a dive down the inside instead, very late on the brakes into the corner, and that's a move done before you even hit the apex for that Mustang there. Very nice, very nicely done from Thomas. Zadvinsky couldn't really do much to stop that, and very slippery on the exit of that corner as well. So Thomas, another place gained, and another place to be gained in front. It's about 10 or so seconds to Zavera in front, I believe there is, so he's got a lot of time to gain now. I do now believe we have everyone that has pitted. We've got David Sparks for Hypex now, who is in the car with a 45-second gap in front, but Chris Vining, of course, is still in the pit lane for 0 Point. So this gap is coming down, depending on how much David Sparks caught during the rain, or how much he lost during the blue flags. This gap might even come down further. I don't think so though. Chris Vining's already coming out the pit lane, and there's still 29 or so seconds between these guys. So yeah, Chris Vining is all the way in the lead, and just needs to not get unsteady and crash on the pit exit, which he almost very did. Switch back to him. On the other hand, Thiago Donate back in the car for the 210 Please Brake Turn 1 team Mustang. They're right behind David Sparks in the for Hypex Mustang. 0.4 seconds between these two. It's the battle for P3 on track. The battle of the Mustangs remains. Kyle Heslin for Proton is now in the car. They're about 14 seconds back. Obviously, this is a swap over from Kevin Blanchette. Kevin Blanchette had an absolutely blistering start to the race, the first 2 hours for these guys. And now we've got Kyle Heslin proving what he can do in the car. 14 seconds. He's got to hit some pretty decent lap times to catch up to that of Donate and Sparks. But so far, it has been a pretty good time. So Van Nimmen then, still 0.9 seconds, now 1 second back from De Ren. De Ren's a new driver that we've not seen in the car yet. This was a switch over from, I believe, Florenti, yeah, that's correct. So we've got Florenti, De Ren, and Porto in this car. Burberry EOS is also 0.8 seconds behind Schwander. Schwander had an unfortunate start to the race, getting a little bit of a tap. Now they're down in P19. It looks like we've got a stop go 30 for Burberry, actually. They must have sped into the pit lane at some point. Guzman's dropped down a couple of places since the pit stop, so they're now down in P21. Car number 29, of course, 5-second gap. Van Nimmen now very close to the rain in front, 0.4 seconds to Thiago Donate, already with the fastest lap of the race. I believe that must have been before the rain, obviously, and I just didn't catch it. But Hypex has gone wide. David Sparks has gone wide. There's a little bit of door banging there as you go through in towards Sector 3 as they emerge out. Thiago Donate is in front. He's going to have a wider exit. David Sparks is going to be all over the rear of them. Let's see what he can pull towards Blanchemont. You can see the battle of the Mustangs there. The massive V8 engine that's powering the front, powered by the front of the car, heading towards the rear wheels. And you can see there just being so tentative towards through Blanchemont, just keeping it on the track. That is the main thing that happens during this. But Hypex doing incredibly well during this race. Thiago Donate doing even better, starting off in P5, up 3 places so far. Swapped with Camargo at one point and is now back in the car and is doing exactly what he did at the start, which is gaining positions. So we'll go on board with Van Nimmen then, see what he can do, and see if he can do the same thing that Donate did to Sparks just a moment ago. He's behind De Ren, about 0.6 seconds back. As they head towards Blanchemont. Stone Angel is also about 0.8 seconds back from the Rinch. Obviously the Rinch may be struggling a little bit more in the rain. He probably had his setup destined for the rain. Speaking of the rain, it is going to lessen off in about 15 minutes time, which is interesting to see. Obviously still heavy rain for now, and the track will remain like this for a while. It's 9 PM in-game time. By the time that rain stops, it will be night time, so the rain is going to take a while to clear up. It'll be at least an hour or so before dry tyres are ready to back in. Zaza for Sky Simsport is still 0.6 seconds back from Guzman. Guzman, who we were saying, has had a little bit of a moment. Cars Keppers, I think, has had a bit of a moment. Who was that off the track? Was that 892? Or was that someone else? I believe that might have been. It was a green car. I'm not exactly sure which one it was. Hopefully, nothing too influential there. But this is an interesting battle because Heslin has been caught by Shimara. Shimara's had a very quiet race so far for the Dakota Esports Mustang. But now they're 0.2 seconds back from Heslin, and further behind that we've got Godowski, who's 0.3 seconds back from Piazza, Van Nimmen, who's 0.4 seconds back from De Ren, Son Angel, who's 0.6 seconds back from the Rinch, Zaza, who's 0.5 back from Guzman. I'm going to have to keep my eye on all of these and see if we can catch us an overtake. Currently it's looking like Godowski might be able to make a move in towards these couple corners here. Needs a good exit on the exit of Speaker's Corner. Is a little bit on the grass there. That'll slow him down a little bit. We'll see if we can switch to someone else. Sun Angel's 0.2 seconds back now. It could be a dive down in Le Rinch on to turn 5. Let's see what happens here. Looks to the inside. He's got that clean air. He's out of display. He's braking late. The Aston's very good in the rain here, and he gets the move done on the inside, which is a textbook maneuver and another position down for Le Rinch since his start of this rain. So now it's Zaza against Guzman, who's going to be later on the brakes. Again, the Aston Martin showing its power in the rain here. Just later on the brakes, hits the apex, and the position is through. If you want any car in the rain, it has to be the Aston Martin. Now, on to Tamara. Can he do what the other two have done? Later on the brakes, not quite the Aston power there, but the Ford did have a look down the inside. It's going to be another look probably towards turn 5. And wow, what was that? That was a little bit of a dirty move there from Heslin. I'm not sure if that was oversteer. I only caught the end of that. Yeah, side by side into Eau Rouge. It's going to be interesting to see if they keep this through. They do. Wow. Well, it was a crazy move that was. Up the inside from Sergei Tamara through Eau Rouge in the rain, in the Mustang, with 9.5 hours left of the race. He could have left that until the next corner and he would have been fine. He could have left that for another couple of laps and he would have been fine. But no, he thought, I'm side by side at Eau Rouge. I've got 9.5 hours left. I've got nothing to lose. Let's do it. And it turned out clean, it turned out nice, it turned out fair, and that is what we love to see. And now he's got a half a second gap up on Heslin, so that's a change for P5, which has not happened since the start of the race, which is crazy to see. So very well done to Tamara there. I'm sure the Dakota Motorsports guys will be very pleased with that. Godowski's turn is now. He's got 0.2 seconds back on Piazza. Again, these guys must have swapped positions at some point because he's in the Aston Martin and Piazza's in the Ferrari. So he's going to be looking down the inside. He's out of the spray. He's in the clear. He's going to be diving down into turn 5. It's a battle of who's latest on the brakes. Of course, it's Paul Godowski in the Aston Martin. Down the inside, the position's been gained. Can he keep it? That Piazza is all over the back of him. There's a little bit of a flash of the headlights there as well, who goes slightly wide off the apex, and that is a position gained for Godowski. What a little battle that was. That was insane. So many cars at once having different battles. As we saw, the Aston Martin being a very dominant choice in all of this. If you want a car for the rain, as I said, it's got to be the Aston Martin. It handles it so well. It doesn't flutter any of its speed, it doesn't flutter any of its cornering. You just have to be very careful. Get a little bit of oversteer, it's the Aston Martin will kill you. Mark says, first ever clean Tamara move. Yep, that's true. Tamara, penalty point champion. No, he's actually not. He's actually a very good driver, is Sergey. Racing for Simhaven, racing for Dakota today. He'll be swapping with Dreyer and the others later in the day. But with 9.5 hours left, he did make that move on the outside, technically, of Eau Rouge on Kyle Heslin the lap previous. Fantastic performance, fantastic little battle from himself there. And, see if he can catch up 19 seconds to P3 now, which is obviously David Sparks in number 84 Hypex Racing. Right then, back on with the action. Let's see who's close and who's in a battle. We've got Ronald van Niven, who's going through the Eau Rouge. Cuts a little bit of the corner there, but he's on the rear of Duren. This one's been brewing for a long time, and wow, hitting that puddle on the top of Radian there. Does Duren. Gets a little unsteady. It's given the run to Van Nimmen. And he's down the inside, and he's made the position, and he's hooked the corner, and he's got it done. Now that was the textbook perfect move that we've seen previously from the Aston Martins, except this time it's done by Van Nimmen in the Ferrari, and a little bit unsteady on the exit, on the entry to the corner there, but still keeping his position, and now he's up into P9. The solo driver out in the rain for Raptor Virtual Racing has made a position gain on Ren. We do love ACC cameras. It's great at showing us the trees and the shrubbery, and extra close-ups of the car. Extra close-ups of the car if you wish to see that. which we don't. So we'll switch back to this. So Carl Heslin now looking actually to get back at Jamara. Maybe he's copied the lines that Jamara's taken in the rain. He's thinking, I can get this. I can make this work. I've got a good car as well. I've got some good teammates. Let's have a little battle. And it could be Carl Heslin going back through for this position. Maybe not in Eau Rouge this time, but maybe trying to get a little bit of a dive. See how that progresses later on in the race. Further down the grid, Barberi is 0.6 seconds back. 0.1 seconds. Now he's on the back of cars. Keppers in Pagasi Motorsport is down and around the outside there. There's potentially a little bit of side door banging. Again, some trees if you want to see some trees from ACC. Thank you for that. And, yeah, still battling for it. So fastest lap at the moment is currently set by Thiago Donate's team. I believe that might have been set by Donate himself. Is currently the fastest lap time is standing at a 2:16.4. Now this is incredible. Like 2:16.4 race pace is mental. Considering that I do believe Donate also has the BOP applied to him. No, he doesn't. Might have been balanced out to 0. There's a car off track. That's car number 305 that's had a moment there on the exit. That's been in the wall and had a visit there, and he's now visiting the exit of the corner and cutting the track there. So yeah, that's unfortunate to see some from Barberi. He was having a good little catch up with driver in front, but he can definitely get it back. There's 9 hours 20 minutes left of the race. Yeah, plenty of time. And yes, as Marcus said in chat, in about 10 minutes or so it will be dry weather again. Now, I don't think that that's going to dry up particularly fast. This, heading into night time now. It's 9:35 p.m. in-game time. The darker that it gets, the less sunshine there is to evaporate the water. It just relies on the cars only. So at that point, it does dry up very, very slowly. So we'll have to see how long. It might even be it's more likely to be a full stint that these guys were on for the wet tyres for. Anyhow, back on with some action. Zaza and Yuzubi are having a little fight. Yuzubi's got a little bit of damage to the front of that Ferrari, so potentially a little visit to the wall at some point. They both go through bus stop. Zaza's going to be trying to get a better exit here, and as I said previously, Aston Martin very powerful here if used correctly in the rain, and at the moment Zaza is using it correctly. Link to the ACN Discord is in the chat if you want to get involved with us. We do up to 15 races a week across multiple different sims, so I want to set of course competition in now, but next week we've got iRacing, we've got Ultimate, we've got ACC, we've got everything. Come and join us, get involved with the racing. Doesn't matter on your skill level. Like I said today, we've got 3 splits, 3 different levels of drivers. Whatever you need from racing, guarantee we can probably give it to you. Here we go into turn 5. The damage on the front of the car clearly visible there, but Zaza is up the inside into turn 5. He's later on the brakes. Will it be the classic Aston Martin move? Yes, it will be. He's hooked the apex, gonna hook the second apex in towards Piff Paff, and he's got the position done. Yuzubi's got no choice and no fighting back against that, and Claudio Zaza is now into P18, making that the 12th position gained since the start of the race. Fantastic performance, and Yuzubi's going to be trying to stick with him for the rest of that time. Christian Boucher is now in the car for the Boucher guys, the Eurobeat Intensifiers livery. It's 0.6 seconds. These guys have actually no longer on Vidal. As Vidal had a little bit of a moment off track and then almost got collided during a blue flag section. But that means that Christian Boucher is now in front of Vidal, and Vidal's got a little bit more to gain in the process. So, who else have we got? Thomas Nopek still performing fantastically. He's now only got 1.8 seconds on Severa in front. He's going to be making his way back into the top 10 within this lap, hopefully, or maybe not within the clap. I've realised that there's also Duren to overtake to get into the top 10. Duren's got a 15-second gap in front of that as well. So maybe in the next sort of 20 minutes or so, depending on the rain and depending on the track conditions, etc. Nopek could be finding his team into the top 10. 9 hours and 17 minutes left of the race. 3 hours have been covered so far. We've got another 5 hours, I believe, left of commentary. And we'll continue this going throughout the night stints, which are beginning now. As you can see, it's getting dark, the sun's gone, we're in the rain, so the clouds are here, but the rain is going soon. We want the track to dry out for the drivers to get back on the dries, but it may not, it may just stay wet. It may stay wet for a majority of the night, what with it being the rain not evaporating too much. So yeah, this will be an interesting one for sure. And obviously, as I mentioned with the splits today, we do have running 3 different splits for this race. We've got 3 different servers, 3 lots of stewarding, and unfortunately only 1 lot of commentary. We did have another commentary planned for split 2, but due to technical difficulties, we couldn't get that completed. Stewarding wise, obviously all 3 splits are stewarded. The current status for split 1 is that we've got 79 incidents. The last incident was well over an hour ago, which is well, actually it's, not well over an hour ago, but it wasn't too long ago, and there was the incidents before that were well over an hour ago, so that's good to see. Split 2 has been a little bit more rowdy over the past couple of minutes. We've had 56 incidents total there since the start of the race, and Split 3 is doing fantastically well with only 23 incidents. So for those of you who doubted the fact that Split 3 would be terrible and with incidents, sometimes going slower is faster. That's Mark Mazza's pickup slogan. I say, you know, going slow is faster, getting penalty points is the way to go. As long as you're the leaderboard of 1 championship, it doesn't matter. It's all fun and games right here. Pierre Godowski is down into Puon. Even Mark agrees with it. There you go. Look, yes, it is indeed my slogan. It's not bullying if they agree with it. That's also added to the words of wise wisdom, I guess. Paul Godowski is on the rear of Rowinski. Sorry, I've mispronounced that. Who's in the car now in the number 33 McLaren. You can see just how difficult these conditions are. That was a full-on slide for Morawski on that corner there, and that Aston's just through nice and fine. The Aston in these rain conditions is honestly, you can't get any better. It can take the curbs, it can take the hydroplaning, it can take the racing line, it can take whatever you throw at it. You just have to be gentle sometimes when it gets to those stages. So yeah, Paul Godowski now up into P6, a fantastic little position game for him there. It's now on the hands of Thomas Nopek in the number 221 Formula Racing League Mustang. Going to be looking for a move, and look at that steering on that Mustang in front. There's a little bit of a bump there, and he's going to be up the inside. That could be a penalty for Nopek there, considering the fact that he bumped the other car wide and made the position gain. He could have done that a lot cleaner. There was no need to get it done in that fashion. Yeah, it's a 9-hour race. You've got plenty of time. And actually, there you go. Look, he's giving it back. What a legend. That's what we like to see. You know, a little bit of a bump. He's passed him, giving it back. He's going to go for it again. That's what we like to see. Maybe he's listening to the stream. Maybe I convinced him. My apologies if he is listening to the stream. I'm not actually supposed to be stewarding. I didn't view all the camera angles. But it's respectful, and if you do get a penalty for it and is marked as position again, I'll make sure that it's not. Anyhow, on with the race. Let's get on into La Source with these 2 drivers. It's going to be potentially a dive into turn 1 with Nopek. No, he doesn't. He keeps it behind. Actually, he does. He goes for the last-minute dive around the inside. He gets given the space by Severa, and that is the position gained for Nopek, this time without any contact. And he's now got Severa right behind him in Eau Rouge, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything. That Mustang is it's a bit sketchy in the rain, as you can see from the Mustang of Severa just behind, but Nopek is dealing with it fantastically. He's looking solid, he's overtaking solid, and he's now got a 15 or a 13-second gap for the next target, which is Duren in the number 999 Skill McLaren 720S. Now, for those of you that haven't been with us since the start of this race, one of the drivers that we do have with us is the Ferrari, if I can find it actually. Maybe I can no longer find it. Yeah, so the driver of the number 66 Ferrari, one of the teammates of this driver, Joe McLaren, is named Joe McLaren, but is actually in a Ferrari. So it was fairly confusing earlier on comms when I said that the McLaren is overtaking the McLaren, but it's actually a Ferrari overtaking the McLaren driven by McLaren. Yeah, well, I'll leave it in the past. Let's hope that McLaren doesn't come back into the Ferrari. I've done it again during the race that's left to go. But yeah, it's all fun and games playing with the names. A little bit of rhyming in there as well. Maybe I should start a rap career. You guys have always wanted me to rap during the driver briefing. Maybe this is the time. Anyhow, back to being sensical. Here's son Angel on the rear of Zadvinsky. There's a GTEU driver in real life called Ferrari and he doesn't drive a Ferrari. It should be illegal. That's what I'm saying. You can have a Ferrari and a Ferrari, but you can't have a Ferrari and a McLaren or a Ferrari and an Aston, you know? It doesn't make sense. It would be funny though if we had Ferrari in a McLaren and McLaren in a Ferrari and it's a McLaren versus Ferrari, but it's also McLaren versus Ferrari. I said I wouldn't do this and then Smiley decided to talk about it, so it's become a problem. I'll just decide to not talk about it because I'm confusing myself and you guys as well. Back on with the action. Zohan Fit is on with Corsa Leggio, just behind Balboa and Piconi. Piconi just in front is with Toga Racing Academy, Balboa's with Raptor Virtual Racing. All of these guys, of course, were on split 2, so these guys all very fast drivers respectively. Obviously just split 1, it just has some absolute aliens in here. Speaking of, Smiley's very own driver, Thomas Nopek, doing an incredible job, gaining almost 2 seconds a lap on these guys, and actually has already caught up to Duren. I think Duren actually had a problem more than Nopek being fast, but Nopek is fast, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's 15 seconds a lap fast. That is slightly ridiculous to say. But yeah, 0.8 seconds between these guys. I'm feeling another overtake from Thomas Nopek coming soon. That's going to be going on. A little bit wide there from Duren. Obviously, we saw Van Nimmen overtaking Duren earlier. We might see a mirrored image of what happened with that. It was a turn 5 dive bomb, if I remember correctly, was how that overtake happened. Obviously, I do apologise now. We are heading into the night time. It's going to be a little more difficult to see on the stream what's going on, but it will be 6 or so hours until it's daylight again. So actually, it'd be 3 hours. I can't do simple addition. Just leave me to it. I'll stick to the commentating. So here we go. Nopek around the outside of Duren. He slips back into the slipstream. He's going to be trying to get a move, probably in and towards Blanchemont, maybe even out of this corner, considering the McLaren got such a hydroplane in there, and he's already through by the apex. I mean, there's nothing I can really commentate about that. 1 second is behind, the next millisecond is in front. That's just how it is with Nopek. But he is now into the top 10 of this race after the blistering start that Davey had after being caught up in a few unfortunate contacts. Nopek has picked up the car and has gone absolutely flying with it. He's just clicked with this rain. The setup has clearly worked with it, and he's doing things that no one else on the grid is doing. And I mean, his last lap was a 2:27.4. The only other person in the 2:27s are doing 2:27.6s, but even then, he's currently the fastest driver on track, which is it's just insane to see, especially in the Mustang in the rain. It's one of the most steady cars. In the rain, just purely because of how much torque it's got. So yeah, very well done to Thomas Nopek and these guys in the FRL racing car. The Vera just behind is now going to be on the rear of Duren. Obviously Duren just being overtaken by Nopek, and Severa a couple of laps earlier being overtaken as well. Clouds have cleared in the sky, you can see that up above, so maybe the track will dry out a little bit with what little sunshine is left. There should be about half an hour left of these guys as stint timers in the meantime. We shall get some more action soon, hopefully enough. So it's a nice sunset when you get there. It is good when you're at Spa and it's been raining and you've got the sunset. It does make for some good photos. So Mark Maz, if you're still watching and you want this replay file, it'll be uploaded to the Google Drive in just a minute. Get some photos of these cars, especially coming around here. It'll be a fantastic shot for drivers that have gone. So Severa still behind Ren. It's currently the closest battle on track. Biano for EOS in the Nissan is currently in the pit lane. They're doing an early change. Bobo is 0.5 seconds back from Pagoni still, and Keppers is about 0.8 seconds back from Fit as well. We'll go back on board with Severa because I think there could potentially be an overtake between these guys coming soon enough. They're going to be coming through Blanchemont now. Nice and gingerly on the acceleration there. Slightly wide for Duran as well. It might have been a track warning there, maybe not. It's going to be a late on the brakes for Severa. That was very late compared to the McLaren. But he's going to meet the apex perfectly. He's going to try and get a decent exit out of this one as well. McLaren is probably better on traction out of these corners, but the Mustang just has so much power that it doesn't particularly matter in the long scheme of things. Heading now down towards La Source, turn 1 of Spa. This is the 72nd lap of the race. Coming through La Source. Following along the rear of Duran now. Certain Angel behind these guys as well is also looking for a position on Zadvinsky as well. This has been one that's been brewing for quite a while, which is good to see. So hopefully Son can make this position gain soon enough. Should be switching over commentators shortly. We've got someone else scheduled to be in at 3 o'clock UTC, so you guys will be switched over to lane, I believe. Yep, that'll be happening in about 10 minutes or so, and I can finally get my lunch because I've been commentating for the past 3 hours and doing the driver briefing and stuff before that, so I am quite hungry. But it's all for the love of racing, and to be honest, during these first 3 hours it's been absolutely fantastic. We've had some proper good battles, and it's been mostly clean for the majority of it. Usby and Znottins have just had a little bit of an overtake towards Blanchemont. That Mustang's got absolute pace on it. I mean, that's just disappeared from Usby. Znottins is doing incredibly well in that Mustang, and even with a little bit of damage on the front as well, so that's good to see. But yeah, as I was saying, some fantastic battles that have been going on throughout this race. We've had some couple good dive bombs, not too many incidents, not too many major incidents at least, and we've still got 34 drivers still in this race. Galamini's rejoined and is on my screen the 39th driver of the race. But yeah, we do have 35 drivers still on grid, which is good. I'm not too sure about the other servers. I'll probably need to join in and just have a look at how they're doing. But so far, Split 1 has been very, very well done. So good job to these drivers. I'll be switching out in about 5 minutes or so. But for now, we'll stay on with Severa and Zadvinsky and see what they can do in the final minutes. Anyone else in the chat rooting for any other specific drivers? We don't have any ACM cars out on the grid today, so I'm looking to cast my support on a specific team. Obviously, I do have a little bit of a bias towards the Patreon team. Mr. Usby himself in the RSR car. These guys are doing very well in P20 at the moment. I believe they started in P22, so they're currently up on their starting position, which is always good. And they're also only about 2 seconds back from Znottins, but obviously Znottins was the one that started, or the one that overtook him in the previous lap, so he's just looking to be consistent at the moment. Anyhow, Severa and Duran almost missed this one, but they're heading towards turn 5, and it's going to be a late lunge down the inside from Severa. It's going to be clutching the apex there, and Duran has been overtaken in a similar fashion to how Van Nimmen did it 15 laps earlier. So there it is, another place gained for Severa. Duran has dropped back a little bit more now, but should be fairly secure as he's got a 16-second gap behind. So yeah, good work from Severa there. It was a very clean overtake, and he's got 7 seconds to Nopek in front. Nopek, by the way, 13 seconds now from Van Nimmen. Van Nimmen is also a very fast driver, so it'll be interesting to see how these guys compare. But so far, very good performance from all of these, and especially Nopek with his current performance in the car. There's the Hyundai N Mustang there. It's got, absolutely love that car. Absolutely no bias, of course, and only love appreciation for the Hyundai series. Barberi here, 0.2 seconds behind Keppers. Keppers is doing very well in the current stint. Bobo just in front of them, very close on the brakes there. Bobo just in front is about 0.8 seconds back from Picconi. Picconi is doing very well as well. He's up 11 places since the start compared to Bobo's actual equalisation with his qualifying time. So yeah, very well done to the Toga driver in front. Barberi in front is doing very well as well. Boucher, 0.9 seconds. Zidvinsky has dropped back a little bit now from Cern Angel. I think Cern Angel actually got past and I missed it this section here. So yeah, Heslin is into the pits now, maybe thinking that it's good enough for dry tyres, but hold on, look at the weather. It's going to be raining 15 minutes again. So things are about to spice up yet again. Let's see. So the replay files for the last 2 hours are now also uploading. Last ones. Actually, I think there was a drive-through for Heslin, which was interesting. He's maybe resetting his stint timer, which is a fairly interesting move. I think he might have been out on wets, and his wets are clearly good enough to stay for the next bit of rain that's coming up. I don't know, we'll have to see how that plays out, but that drive-through was pretty costly for his race. He's now down in P11, P12 actually. I've also got the Duran, Sareva, and Nopek train in front, but yeah. Interesting choice from the 585 there. I'm not entirely sure the mechanics behind it, but we'll put some trust in them and we'll say give it half an hour and maybe they'll be back in the top 8 or so. So stay with that for now. As we do head into the night time, I must apologise, the stream quality will go down a little bit as it'll just be a bunch of lights and colours going around the circuit and it'll be a bit more difficult to make out what's what. But hopefully the next commentator that comes in can deal with that well enough. I do put my trust entirely in them to do so, so you guys should look forward to that. Barberi is 0.1 seconds back from Keppers. He's going to be looking for a move down the inside, which he's done, and he's made by the apex. There's a little bit of a bump on the behind there. That'll be a warning at least if it's not the first incident that Keppers has had of that. But that was a nice move from Barberi up the inside, keeping it nice and clean just in front, and did exactly what he needed to do really. And now Picconi is facing some challenge in front actually with Bobo. The driver behind is maybe Landolfi? Yep, Alessandro Landolfi for the Falcon Racing Academy is just behind him. But that's obviously a blue flag situation, so that move will get done in this corner. Let's go on board with the leader then. See how well they are doing. Chris Vining and 0 Point Racing, very good race so far. He's got a 30-second gap on anyone else. He's picked it up from his teammates Michael Thomas. It's a lethal combination, that is, Michael Thomas and Chris Vining, and as you can see, it's got them a 30-second lead so far. And what they've done so far is just, well, lead really. They've not really had any incidents. There's not really had any track cuts from what I've seen. They're just been keeping it incredibly consistent, incredibly fast, and keeping it where they need to be on track. You know, Nanate is now 27 seconds behind. Behind that, David Sparks for Hypex is about 10 seconds, and then Tamara about 15 seconds from that as well. And actually, we do have a top 5 non-Mustang now. So we've got Gadowski in P5, which is the first non-Mustang. Thank you. That was obviously as a result of Kyle Heslin's drive-through. That was the reason for that. And followed behind Gadowski, of course, is Piazza. Gadowski is about 27 seconds behind Tamara, but Piazza's only about 5 seconds down on Gadowski. I think Gadowski actually made a position gain on Piazza, some form of position gain on there too, because I believe there was, I think it was Moronsky who was in P5 originally, or P6 originally, and then Piazza and something like that. Something happened, and then we've now got Gadowski in P5, which is good to see. And hopefully there's a little bit of a battle between these guys as the track transforms back into damp weather towards the night time. Maybe I jinxed it with the weather when I was saying earlier that it's been fairly sunny so far. Maybe I suggested that there wouldn't be any rain happening, and then we've got rain on a cycle now, it seems. But we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it develops. I think the drivers should be able to deal with this pretty well, and it was advertised as a variable weather race with 2 times time multiplier, so you've got to expect these things. And to be honest, so far, at least how it's looking, I think the wet tyres are probably still more than enough for this track. And I think in the 15 minutes that the track's gonna try and dry up in and then go back into the wet, the drivers can just stay on the wet tyres. So that's it's fairly good. To be honest, I think if this rain continues as it is, or at least throughout the night time, we might not see another fast lap happening. If it does entirely dry out and we do get some fast lapping happening, then the cool air will help the car's engines and stuff like that, help to cool the brakes and stuff. Then we may get another fastest lap being set, but to be honest, I don't see that happening in the near future. So I think we can all probably relax on that front for now. Zadvinsky still 0.8, still hanging on to Sun Angel in front. Barberi is still 0.3 seconds from Bushu in front. So we will be switching over to a new commentator soon enough. They'll be in the comments box soon. I'll give them an introduction, then I'll drop out and the stream will switch over. Final update from myself on the stewarding side of things. We've had, again, not too many incidents in Split 1. We've got 80 so far, which is 2 in the last 2 hours. Split 2 has got 57 so far. Again, 1 in the last hour or so, which is pretty good. And then Split 3 as well, 25 incidents total. A couple more have popped in the past sort of 20 minutes or so, but that only seems like some minor incidents, so all pretty good. YouTube stream, unfortunately we never got it working. We did have some technical issues with that and connecting to the stream key, and then the commentator just couldn't do any more, so yeah, we had to give it up unfortunately. But sorry about that. We did have the comms for Split 1, and we'll try and get this out towards the end of the race as well. Anyhow, I am joined now by Flynn, who's going to be the commentator for the next hour. How are you doing, Flynn?
How are we doing? Not bad, yourself?
Good. It's been a very good first 3 hours actually. We've had a lot of battling. It's been kept majority clean, and we've had some proper good position gainers as well. Cedric Larinch is up 22 positions. Had Nopek in the car now, who's making up positions like it's nothing. So yeah, it should be a pretty spicy hour for you on console.
That's good to hear.
So yeah, just let me know when you're ready to start, and I'll drop mine off and go.
No problem. Just give me just a second.
support for Blaze in the chat. I'm not entirely sure which car that is. If you can give me a car number, we'll switch to him quickly. Zanotins is now up on his next target. It's Zaza in front. Obviously, Zaza in the Aston Martin for Sky Sim Sport. As we were saying earlier, they're doing very well. They're up 12 positions, I believe, from their starting position. So, yeah, pretty good.
Right, I'm ready when you are.
Sounds good. I'll end my stream now, and you can go in.